I'd been right about the lovely Mrs. Calicote. In her case, still waters did run deep. There were curious things to learn about all four, in fact. The late circus owner, his junior partner and manager, his widow, and their star attraction. Unfortunately, that's all there was so far. Curious discoveries. There were no smoking guns or thrown knives, no signs directing me to a murderer or their motive. But my big snitch had given me plenty of human drama to think about. After my visit with Large, I headed north again, into the heart of the city and the Loop, and made a stop at the City Hall building on North LaSalle. Specifically, I visited room 107, the clerk of the city of Chicago, in an effort to see for myself any and all permits issued to the Calicote and Major Circus to perform their dog and pony and tiger show at and on Navy Pier. My curiosity was soon satisfied, though I had no idea as to what end. Finished there, and while I still felt nosy, I detoured to West Washington for a repeat performance at the Cook County Clerk's office. My goal there was slightly different. I did some, probably completely wasted, research on the details of the history of the Calicote estate and holdings. I'd like to report specifically what I was after and what I found in my hunt, but the fact was I had no idea. I merely wanted to know all I could know. Like I said, Large hadn't handed me a murderer, but he'd given me food for thought, and knowledge gained in my trips to his Taste of New Orleans always made me hungry for more. Speaking of hunger, I'd seen to Alfonso's Mutt and visited the best Louisiana restaurant in the city, but had forgotten to feed myself. I needed grub and a place to down it, and a place to quietly sort the head full of facts and rumors I'd collected. My office was out. The cops were covering it like a cheap suit. I imagine the same might be true for my apartment, but as it featured several points of access, I decided to give the homestead a look. I sneaked home. Well, close to home. I parked the Jag on a used car lot 2 blocks away. The owner and I had an understanding, and I darted from phone pole to dumpster to discarded refrigerator box up the alleys to the rear of my apartment building. No bulls in the back. I hopped the rear fence, low-crawled the yard, and slipped into the basement through a window secured with a trick latch for just such occasions. As quietly as I could, I maneuvered the cellar and climbed to the ground floor. I eased a crack in the door and found the hall empty. I slipped off my shoes, slipped into the hall, and peeked through the front door window. Sure enough, there sat an unmarked but obvious city unit with a nodding copper at the wheel. Whatever Wenders wanted, he wanted it bad. I climbed the stairs as noiselessly as I was able to my second-floor apartment. I reached the landing puffed with pride at having outsmarted the law. I unlocked the door and was pocketing my latchkey when, for no reason I could see, I was thunderstruck. That increasingly familiar searing pain tore through my neck. I lost my balance, dropped my shoes, and tumbled like a sack of rocks backwards down the stairs. So much for pride or a silent entrance. My head hit a step, my ankle hit the rail, my wrist hit the wall over and over again all the way down. You get the picture. A week later, it seemed I hit the hardwood floor at the bottom of the staircase. I'd felt every smack of the tumble but saw none of it. My mind and senses were busy, following the waves of heat, pain, light, and darkness you're coming to expect as much as I, and for some ungodly reason of which I couldn't even guess, I found myself back in Sybil's train car at the circus. I don't mean merely that the vision had put me back in Sybil's place. I was back in her bulbous body as well. Both place and person were instantly recognizable by the distant calliope music, the long room, the lighted mirror, the crap furniture, me on my knees, my hand wet again with Sybil's spilled porridge, oh, and the knife. I shouldn't forget the keenly sharpened throwing knife, again plunged into my back. In the time it took to set the scene for you, the shadowy phantom killer behind me had moved into the room and was upon me. Ignoring the knife he'd thrown for the moment, he grabbed me. No, he grabbed my pearl necklace and began choking me. The knife hurt, make no mistake, but there's nothing on earth to match the outright terror of not being able to breathe. I, by which I mean poor dying Sybil, couldn't get a breath. I had quite a murderous metaphor building in my boiled brain. Amid my thunderstrike, the killer was strangling me so hard the necklace snapped under the pressure. The loose pearls scattered like hailstones, and I dropped to the linoleum like a tree felled by a storm.